Good. This is part four then. Part four on the V Twin Pistons. My assembly's done. There's still some questionable tolerances here. Um, and my tolerances are just a little bit different than what right now the current imagery is up on the Canvas page. But it's okay. I'm not. I don't have to worry about that too much. I can come back and change it. It's still a good time now that I can just put everything on a drawing, and then I can fine tune those tolerances at the very end, even once everything's on my drawing. So I think this is a good place to start the drawing, and we'll come back and lock in the dimensions that have proved to print without any kind of tolerance issue on our 3D printer. Um, so I'm going to open up the template file that is on Canvas here. Pulled it up yesterday, but it's just in the resources area. Let's see. Van range template right here. So I have my copy. So just go ahead and download this. See how this works. First time using it this semester. I'll open mine just through a minute here. So I'll open up a new one, or open up my existing template. Which should be this one right here. I'm gonna open it. It's the same one that's uploaded to. It functions just a little bit different than there's been a few formatting changes. We'll worry about kind of the title block and everything at the very end. I'll just worry about placing views. I'm gonna have to make multiple sheets. So I won't be able to fit everything on one sheet for sure on this one. So before I place anything on this, I'll make a copy of this sheet. And maybe I'll make a few copies, and then I can always delete them if I don't need it. I mean, you can put stuff on them and then make a copy, and then you have to just delete if you already have parts and stuff on it. So I'll just do on a clean sheet here. I'm just going to make a copy, and so on the drawing model browser over here, I just got this is the sheet here. It's kind of the name of the sheet. So mine's expanded here, but I'm just going to right click this. This is copy a sheet right here. Yeah, copy. And then just click in here in dead space of the model tree and just say paste it. So I have a copy of B size 2. So I think I'm going to do that a couple times. I'm just going to make like, I don't know how many, I'll put 5 sheets here. They need a unique name, so they're naming themselves a unique name. They're gray shaded because that's not the active sheet I'm on. So now that I have multiple sheets, they just look like this, multiple sheets. They'll have the same title block and some of the same. Looks like I have a sketch that's turned on. What does this one actually do if I anyway? Oh, that's this sheet. I can't really make any changes on a sheet unless I. Oh yeah, so that's just considered a sketch as it came in. I just pulled it in from CAD actually, so I'll just leave it on. That is the tolerance block. But anyway, these are all just, yeah, to activate these, just double click on them here, and now you're on that sheet. If I double click here, I'm on that next sheet. So I've just got a bunch of the same sheets here. And let's go ahead and start with the first one. Generally in a mechanical drawing, your first sheet's going to be an assembly. Um, so I'm going to bring in just let me just let some, and sometimes I just slide my drawing over here to my very left side is the way I work. Sometimes I just load my workspace down here to be kind of drawings, assemblies, parts. Just watch how you're navigating here, but I'm going to place this part on here. Um, I'm going to do one more constraint here just to put this in maybe right now this is just kind of in a random place. I don't really have it in any particular place. And I don't know. It, I may not exactly like how it is. There's a and something that we won't go into now, but can help me with something that's like this, where I'm going to put my assembly on my sheet, and then I'm going to want to call out what all these parts are. And sometimes they're hard to see. And so we can really make different views of this assembly. It's what we call model states over here on the very top of your. Let me collapse all my model browser here. Here's all my parts. Model states is something we'll explore later, but I can actually set different model states of this and use those model states on my drawings for different reasons. I'm not sure if the book goes into that at all, so maybe we'll just wait a little bit and see. And we don't need to worry about it yet here. I'll just I can cut section views to show parts at this point and stuff. So I won't worry too much about model states at this stage, and I'll just keep it in this one simple model state. I just have the primary model state. And so don't worry about that yet. I just want to, if you want to do some, some of your own homework a little bit, you can look into this and how you can set different views of and different stages of the assembly. You can actually assign a model state to that. So that can come in handy for when you're doing your drawings, especially on complex assemblies. Yeah, and it's even a way that sometimes they use to show different manufacturing steps of manufacturing can be displayed by using different model states. So all I really want to do is I'm just going to do one more constraint on my crankshaft. I think the last one they did, which I haven't done yet, in when we did this as a single piston, is they constrained this face here to this face here at a 0 degree, so it's kind of stayed in this alignment. Roughly, it was like this, and then we drove that thing with animation to spin 360 degrees because all these other constraints would allow that. But I think I'm going to pull it into a little different place. I'm just going to pull one of the pistons out a little bit more. So I'm not anything particular. Maybe like this. Maybe I'm going to put my crankshaft somewhere like this. This one may give me some. I can kind of get in and identify these parts a little bit potentially. I don't know. Not a perfect place, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one more uh, constraint here. So this face to this face. And I think I'm just do this as an angular constraint. And I'm just going to say it won't accept this one currently with this one selected. So I'm going to say, oh, I just want just a two selection solution here. If I think if I apply this, I can cancel that right now. Now this thing will turn because I've got it locked down and kind of it has exposed that piston coming out. So maybe I like this as like maybe just a static state right now. And I'm going to place this view on my drawing. And if you'll notice, yeah, I haven't really changed. So here's the current front view, and it's even upside down, right? Like my front view is going to come in on my drawing likely like this, upside down and backwards, which is okay. It's just kind of because this part was the original part, and it was drawn with this as the front view. So that's maintained that way the whole entire, just how the assembly has turned out. And that's my part that's grounded and rooted in my assembly. So it's like this. And that's okay. I'm not going to change it here. I'm just going to flip it around on my, I mean, this might be an okay view. Maybe it looks upside down to you, but maybe it actually is a way to set it down. I think I'm going to pick, I think about this. I think I have a good option. Either it's here or here as a front view. I know that I have that post coming down, but that'll be fine. Like something like this as a front view. Should it be like this? Could be. Should it be like this? As a V twin usually sits like this in an engine assembly. Uh, but I don't. I think any view I choose is pretty much okay on this first one. So maybe I'll just pick something just something like this or like this. So let's go in. So what I'm going to do is jump over here and place that base view, or I just right click a base view now, or just go to the base view. It's the only thing I have open, so it should be the only thing that comes up automatically selected. So, like I said, I knew that was how it was going to come in. So I'm just going to flip it. You have control over it when you first set it down. Maybe there's a pretty good front view. Obviously, it's scaled up way too large. There's a top view. There's a right side view. Here's going to be a isometric view. On the general assembly view, I'm not going to go crazy on dimensioning this. It's just mostly for parts identification and kind of just general assembly. So some overall dimensions are helpful, but particular dimensions aren't what I'm actually looking for here on this particular sheet. And maybe all these views are unnecessary. So maybe they may look a little bit redundant, and maybe only two views are necessary. But I do need to scale it down. So maybe I'll try half scale, like a 1:2. It's pretty small. It might be okay. I'm going to put some dimensions. I can scale this up. And I'll drop all these views. I'm going to drop the view label as well on this parent view. Say, okay. I'm going to choose hidden lines to show though. We'll see if that's a mess or not. I can choose between either of these. Let's just see what this looks like. If the hidden lines become not beneficial, mm, yeah, I think they're okay actually. I think I'm going to edit this view here. I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger, about like a 3/4 scale on my main isometric. That might be a little bit big. I'm gonna do one more edit. 5/8 scale. It's in between a half and 3/4 scale. Yeah, that's fine. So what we're going to do here, this page, like I said, is not going to be, I've got a little bit different view label going on here. This is okay. I can edit this later too, but this is movable. Let's see. I think I will keep all three views. And like I said, it's going to be minimal dimensioning, but mostly parts identification. So what we can do is we could drop a parts list here, and uh, and that's going to be the main feature of this first page. So if here's my parts list. I'm on my annotation tab, which is going to be our drafting tab for sure. It's going to be where we're doing most of our dimensioning. And I know we haven't used it much yet. This will be the first time, but it's got a dimension palette, features and notes. So if I have specific features, Inventor's a little bit better at calling out those and applying the correct kind of specific note. We've got our normal like leader line text, multi-line text. Some specifics here. This is an expandable list that goes into GD&T stuff and welding stuff mostly here, which is what we're going into next week, at least the welding, and then the week after some GD&T stuff. So we learned some new symbols here, the hieroglyphics I say. These are kind of buried and kind of hidden here, but here's like center lines that I like center lines and I like center marks. Same with CAD. So they're here. They're not very well labeled, but they're here. They are right here. Center lines between two surfaces, just a normal center line and a center mark and multiple center marks, center pattern. If I have annotations in the model, which I don't right now, I've not annotated anything. I'll do it on the drawings for a while first, except for some of our. Well, we'll talk about it next week there a little bit. If I'm going to retrieve the model annotations, and here's my parts list. Oh, I can do a sketch here as well, so I can always just do a sketch. Next tab over is sketch tab too, so I can sketch. I can break up my drawing using sketches. Kind of put borders in, break up. If I have multiple parts on a drawing, I might put a border around them just to separate them. Revision table, revision tag, revision cloud. We haven't used these yet, but we will. When I make a revision, it gets clouded and I get tagged it with in a unique number. And of course, I get a revision history uh, schedule or table over there. This will be my first sheet, so it'll contain the revision history for the entire print packet. And then as other prints have revisions to them, they won't have a revision block initially until there's maybe a revision that is on that sheet, and then I'm going to apply uh, a revision table on those sheets as revisions happen. Right now, this will be my master revision. It's kind of on Rev 0, the first one out the gate. This will be the only revision block that I have on my print on sheet 1. So, and then we have balloons, and this is how I use to identify the parts that are in my assembly. So there's an auto balloon function. I'll probably just use the manual function. Here's some additional revision stuff, right? Okay, so that's my annotate tab. I feel like it's what we're going to use a lot today. The other ones, just a sketch if I need to, I'll show you. And then it's just got the regular tabs. But I think that these are pretty common in all, whether it's a part or an assembly or a drawing. But yeah, I think that for me, the first thing to do is maybe drop like drop a parts list on here. So I feel like this should identify. Let me see. Parts list. It's kind of like dropping a view in some way, similar dialog box here that I could actually choose which, if I have a bunch open or whatever, maybe it needs to know which parts list do you want. And I'll say, well, this is the only one I have open. This is the one I want. And it's in its primary model stage right there. That's what that is. And I only have one model state. So I think I'm just gonna leave this as default, minimum digits. And then I'm going to wrap my table left. Yeah, either right to left, or I'm just gonna leave this as default. And then I'm going to say OK on this, and I should get it's disassembled in the reference assembly. This bomb view must be enabled to proceed. Do you wish to enable the bomb view? Yes. So I'm going to say OK. And then this is the table. This is essentially a table of parts that are in this assembly. So I got to drop this on here. I usually drop it sometimes in the opposite corner of my revision table here. So it's going to affect my view sizes for sure, but let's just drop this there. All right. So these are all pre-populated. These are I properties that are populating on my bomb. So I haven't really done any of this. It's picking up my part number, which is probably my drawing or my part number when I named it. Some of these are picking up a description. Looks like some of the step files that we pulled in from master car come in with a little step file description. We can change that. This isn't what we wanted to read, and if we didn't populate this is just kind of maybe the default parts list that came up: item, quantity, part number, description. This can all be modified as well. So this is just a table that's really modifiable. I'll probably just leave it in default mode for this one and potentially fill out some of the I properties on my parts to fill out some of this. But let me get rid of this top view. Yeah, and in this case, I don't know, it might fit a little better if I just drag this over to drag the entire table over if I get the right grip here and just drop it. That's going to extend that. Let me just drop it. Then I should be able to grab it. Grab it. Where's my grip? I don't know. It's going to get smaller, bigger. Oh, there's my whole thing. Now I can resize it here. I'm going to move it towards the middle. I'm definitely going to drag it up and try to make it as small as I can. I don't want these descriptions to be any longer than they need to be. And if I have multi-line on the part number, that's okay for right now. I can squish the quantity, squish the item number. So I'll make these a lot smaller. Expand my. I'm going to probably change the part number name of these that I've got coming on with those step file parts. Just slide this over. This will allow me. I think this is going to be a better place to dock it actually, just because I can keep my views and see which ones I need here. It's going to be over here a little bit. So essentially, this is just showing you automatically. These are all the parts that are in here, right? I've got one piston case, two pistons, two wrist pins, one crankshaft, two connection rods, three external retaining rings, four side mount external rings, and four internal retaining rings. It's kind of nice. You identify those by hovering over them. So with that in mind, what this first page really needs to do is identify those parts. And I generally use this view to identify those parts, unless some parts are buried. That's kind of why I have some of these in hidden mode here, is just mostly put the balloons on first. So this is balloon here. So if I just choose balloon, it'll let me select an item, and then it's gonna apply this item number in my balloon. So if I point to this one, sorry, maybe you have to double click. You have a lot of control over how you want these. If you want them off and angled, I'm just going to use, I'm going to use it like this, just a simple straight point. But I mean, there's a lot of different reasons. If you auto balloon, it goes crazy, and you can refine an auto balloon. Like I said, drop down here. Here's auto balloon. Let me see what it does. Auto balloon. I might have to select the view, add or remove components. Yeah, I think this is a legit way to do that too. Is just go through the auto balloon. I'll just stay with my manual ballooning right now. And so I just go through here and I point things I can see clearly here. So I feel like, and I think with balloons and their leader lines, I feel like they as a drafting, uh, just with your drafting skills, I follow the same kind of concept of leader lines. Like, a 45-degree line is maybe preferred, but 30, 60. I try to avoid like straight horizontal and vertical uh, pointing lines with my balloons to my parts. Like I just try to avoid that, just like I would a multi-leader line on a drawing. So keep ballooning this here. So that's that one part. And I only really want one balloon for every part. So even though I have two pistons here, I don't need to put the balloon on both of them. I think it's generally understood, that I have two of those parts, and I can quickly identify, my parts list says there's two. I can visually see there's two. So I don't need to double balloon this. I single balloon, one balloon for every item that's on here. Okay. Doesn't all have to be in the same view, but I generally try to keep everything I can to this view. And let's see. So keep ballooning here. Whatever I can see. There's just I can't see the wrist pin well. I could maybe get it and put it on there, but maybe I'll save that for another view. This is easy to identify. That's the connection rod. Just double click to place it. Um, those are three. So the wrist pin is one of my fourth main parts. I can't really see it well in here, but I can see my crankshaft, even if I'm just pointing like right here to my crankshaft. That's four of my five parts. Yeah. And I'll pause for just a minute. Yeah. Make sure to push play. I do something. Yes. And all I'm doing is just identifying my parts here. So I've got 3 out of 4, or sorry, 4 out of 5 in my main parts. Now this pin really in here buried. So, I mean, there are some other ways I could do this. I mean, you can't, so maybe I'll show you a couple different ways I could deal with something that's buried or hidden in my drawing. And what I would do is, I could use the hidden line function here to point to it and pick it out. Like this, I may have to be looking into it here somewhere where I'm actually getting the wrist pin here. Like there. That is the wrist pin, right? Hard to identify what I'm really pointing to there, though. 3 is the wrist pin. So I can stack some, even if I can't clearly see them in view. I think I can say, because I can kind of get to it here. Let's see what all parts I have here. Usually have to be able to get to an edge of it. What is this one? This one is number 8. So let me stack that one up right in here. Number 8 should be that external retaining or internal retaining ring. Yep. I think I can add another part onto here though. Like if I right click on this balloon and attach another balloon, I can attach one from the list. So if I attach the balloon from the list, it'll be like, well, here's your list. Which balloon are you attaching? Oh, I want to attach maybe the wrist pin here. So I'm going to attach 2 because really what I have going on in the wrist pin kind of assembly area, I have the one that I've ballooned that I can easily snag with my pointer there. That's the internal retaining ring. There's also a wrist pin, and then there's the side mount external retaining ring. So I have so if I can attach those balloons to this balloon, it kind of can be this like wrist pin has these retaining rings on it. And so even though I'm not like explicitly showing them in this view, I'm at least attaching that's where they're kind of in conjunction with this one part. So I'll pick this one, the wrist pin here, and I'm going to also choose the side. Okay. And they're just going to show up there. Oh, they give me a few options. Maybe I'll put them like vertical. And so now I have and maybe I'll move number 1 just a little, just to so I have some slide these over. These just have different grips, so you can move them. That's a surface grip. I want it to be a friction grip. I'm not sure that's changed on me. I click on here. I just want it to be a pointer. So I just double click on there to get into it. It's we have a ton of different options. Mine's just a filled pointer is what I want. It kind of just changed on me. I didn't need it to because I probably selected a surface. This is my 1. This is 837. And it just randomly picked these item numbers. 2, 5. So that if I did that, I wouldn't have to necessarily do this, right? I don't want redundant balloons. I just want to call out. one balloon for each part, even if there's multiple parts. So I've got one. I just need to make sure I've got one for each one. One, two, three, four, five. I don't have number six, right? It's right here. It's this little external retaining ring. So I can point to it right here. Zoom way in here and grab it somewhere on its edge like that. There's number six. Just double click to place it and I'm done. But really, I was able to get all my balloons that are kind of on my assembly, or my isometric view of my assembly. That's the critical thing to have on your first page is just parts identification, kind of where they are. I'm going to keep the hidden views, and I think I'll keep all three views, even though I'm not really going to use them all. But I'm going to dimension a couple overall dimensions. So what I like here is maybe just a couple of overall dimensions. So let's do that. So here's your dimension, like on your annotate tab, your first palette is all dimensioning. Uh, we've got ordinate type dimensioning, chain dimensioning, which we kind of avoided, but there is reasons to use it. It seems like there was always a rubric item semester that was do not chain dimension, even though we have a function of chain dimensioning here in Inventor. So we baseline dimensioning is maybe how many use, but I'm just gonna use this dimension right here. And I'm just looking for some overall, like I think for me on an assembly file, I just like to tell, generally it's pretty good to tell people like what is the overall dimension. So if I snap this here, it gives you, it goes into a text box. So I think on all your dimensions, this gets pretty, you get into this workflow here where you need to add a specific note to this dimension. So these are going to be, oh, it looks like left justified. I'll leave that here. I'm not going to, I mean, this is all in default. I'm just going to leave it in default here. Um, so I have a text tab. I have a symbol library ready to go. Degrees, diameters. Sometimes I have to apply these manually, but sometimes yeah, if I'm using like feature notes, if it'll pick up the feature notes from the model, sometimes I don't have to put all that diameter symbology and stuff. Sometimes it'll automatically apply if I'm using this palette to identify some things. But let's see, precision and tolerance. Right now, I'm just in default mode. It's like I've got a 2 decimal place tolerance in default. I'll just leave it like this. But I have access to kind of different dimension styles that are kind of preloaded in here, rather than having to make maybe a dimension style like we did in CAD. We have them right here at every dimension I place, and then we won't need to do any inspection dimensioning here. Just stick with simple first. So I'm just going to say okay on this. That's that one. I think of ASME standard was like 3/8 away, and then quarter inch thereafter. Maybe I'm going to be a little less critical of that here. I don't think I can just enter that dimension in like I can in CAD and like space this away. There's no like dialog box for how far away I'm moving that. So I'm gonna go with like some eyeballing of my ASME kind of standard, approximately 3/8 away on this dimension from my object. So I feel like I apply my ASME standards, but at this stage, I'm not going to go crazy for, I'm just looking for a nice clean dimensioning. Let's see, the dimension the other way overall. 6 by 6. I'm going to dimension the height overall. I have a couple different heights here. You see that here just by the way these two different bores line up. So maybe I'll put in a height from here to here. I just something the line itself, like line to line. It's 0.25 or 2.25. On that side and over here, it's a little bit different dimension. And I might place this one overall here. I'll zoom way into this last. You still move these around like you could in CAD a little bit, like you don't get that staggered, right? I think I'm going to delete my right side view. I think I'm just going to keep top, front, and my assembly view on this page. So I mean, I'm just kind of looking at like what do I have here? Well, I've got some decent parts detail. really this isn't adding any additional detail that I need. I can see through the bore in one. I can see the bore at the profile of it here. And so I don't feel like this is going to be absolutely necessary. So I think I'm just going to say delete this view. Specifically because I'm not going to dimension much more either here. I'm just going to put a couple of overall dimensions on it, identify my parts, call this sheet one really. And this is really just this assembly view, which we'll come back and title these sheets after I figure out what's on them. I don't worry about the title block until I really determine that, oh, this is my sheet flow. This will be that sheet's name. So let's go over to the next sheet. And what I'm going to do from here on out now is I'm going to break down each part and just detail it like we would in CAD. So just use your CAD skills to come over here and grab each part. And each part doesn't necessarily need to be on its own sheet though. So let's do this. Let's go to the next sheet. Well, one thing I maybe should have done here is this is my general note for the entire print pack, right? This is page one, has my general notes that apply to the entire print pack. So I don't really need it on my next one. I mean, you can delete these later if you don't, but I don't need the repetitive general note on each sheet. I can have a no I can't keep it if there's some specific notes to this sheet that are different than the general notes. Okay, I can put a note here, but it might be common for me to delete this at the end. Anyway, let's pick another part here. So it wouldn't really matter. Sometimes I just think systematically as I place maybe I like prioritize my sheets by the part priority in some way. So maybe I wouldn't start detailing. I would start with the wrist pin as my next. I might start with the main the main parts. You have to kind of think of like I don't have any sub assemblies. This is one assembly, but yeah. So I feel like this is the main part of this assembly. So I'm gonna detail it next on my sheet. So a couple different ways you can do that. You can open these up. And if you look at them and go over to your sheet, this will be the next one that's ready to base view place like this. I will put a view label underneath it. I'm gonna invert it to just back into its this front view. But I'm gonna choose this way. I will put a top. I probably will put this one like this. Okay. I can always delete these later. I need to start dimensioning this one out here. This sheet is my second sheet, so I'm not gonna have a revision as revision one, so I can definitely get rid of this. This is gonna be deleted. Maintain this space though, that you can always reapply that revision table in the event that this part needs a revision. That's gonna apply a revision table. Right now at red 0, we don't have any revisions on it, so I remove it. I think I already said the only revision table I'm gonna have is on sheet one at this point. And likely the only general note I'm gonna have is on sheet one. So yeah. So here is sheet 2. I'm gonna move this thing over here. And let's see. Just start dimension this out, just like you would your in CAD here. So give myself some space. I don't know what scale I'm at. I don't think I adjusted the scale. It's a 1/2 scale when I dropped it. I'm going to keep it like that. So just look at this as like I would anything, right? Like this is my width, so I need my overall width here. And whether you choose points or lines, well, it will only matter sometimes when you go to move a dimension and you've like selected a point to a point. Sometimes those dimensions kind of move funny when you go to move them. If you go line to line, maybe they stay more parallel. Hey, how's it going? Keep making it. We skip this one. All right, so I'm back. Yes, I'm back. There we go. Dimension this out. So I'm gonna take the from side to side here. It's gonna be my overall. It's about 3/8 below. Okay. Uh, there are round features in here, so I'm gonna need center lines. So here's where I showed you, clear over here, kind of buried in between symbols and this retrieve model annotations are my center marks and center lines, kind of buried in here. Like here's my center mark. So if I choose that and apply it to this, kind of applies that center mark that we're used to. Its extensions, I'm gonna have to. Sometimes I'm a little lazier with my ASME here, but really, it should be 1/4 inch extensions on those. Have to look in to see. I think it right now for doing our first drawing, don't worry too much about the weeds. And I think we'll iron that out a little bit. I at least want to apply that center mark. I'm going to apply another center mark here. Just want to get familiar with how the software default drops these really. I think this is pretty true that this is centered over this hole as well. This could I could use this even this one center mark. Could pull this through. And this the center mark's kind of doing double duty because I do have a hole through hole, that little hole right there. This thing needs a center mark right here. Good. These ones need center through bores here, so I'm going to use just these 2 lines here. This is the inside. I could use the outside. There's a through bore there and here. I think that's something students forget to do, even though they were so good at doing it in CAD, is always having center marks. We forget to apply that here and apply these center marks here. Okay. I don't have the layering effect. Like I don't have like red. I mean, I could set that up, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it all just default. And the reason why I'm kind of crowding into this space is because I'm thinking about dropping another part over here. So I have 2 parts of it. Maybe I'll put the piston over here and detail it out. So now I'll go back to dimension. I've got two heights here. I've got an overall height right here. Just kind of pulling up from the bottom to the top. And it's kind of like CAD in the way I'll just blast my dimensions and I'll refine a little bit at the end. So I definitely need this height here. I have another height over here. So I think I'll select that and that. Drag this over here. Okay. I have a height from bottom up to center bore here. That's kind of a feature though. So I'll break it down the same way I would in CAD is I'll just think about the part itself. This is the overall width. These are some overall heights of those parts. We got one more little overall height is maybe right here. If I'm just thinking of the normal shape of the thing before I think of the features, which I think of as holes, right? I can dimension my holes last. But I definitely have I don't want to same ways. I don't want to dimension to hidden lines here. So I'm looking for solid visible lines to dimension to. But I need this little height. Maybe to me, this is the best little place to put this specific height here. Okay. And we can worry about dimension precision next too. So I might want to refer to what dimensions I was given and what those are. I know we have some 4 decimal place stuff, or I can just leave it as 2 decimal. Just leave it as default 2 because I'm not going to, yeah, let's just keep it simple. So even though these are maybe inaccurate dimensions, let's just get them up. Let's see. That just works better for me than over here and reaching across. So this is good. Height here, height I've got. Now I need feature heights. So that's maybe all the dimensions I'm going to get there, other than these length dimensions here, right? Like this would be a good one from here to here, how long this bore is. Then I would have to have that one there. I think I might put those in the top view. Only because I'd only be able to get one here. I'd be able to get the other one over here. I think the top view, I can get them both. So I think that's good. And I already have the width dimension there. But I might need the overall depth here from here to here. Right? Maybe I'll put it on this stuff. Okay. Now I feel like I'm going to dimension these bore lengths here. And I'm thinking of this one maybe pulling from here, this right side surface to here in that dimension. If I think of kind of my datums, like these are all pulling up off the bottom to me, like this bottom surface. It's kind of control. Here I'm kind of saying maybe right side surfaces. I need this dimension here. Is this coming from backside surface? Do I put it here? Yeah, I like that it automatically, the default settings on these we can check them. I don't know if they're exactly ASME, and I'll do some double checks on my template here to see, but you can see that it's already doing the breakaway for me. It's applying that. Yeah, just let's keep it in default. So 206, 206. I think I want to know the dimension from here to here, potentially. Yes, like here, this edge here. I'm gonna pull it down this way though, between the two. And I think I'll pull this from what I feel like is my backside surface now to here as well. Symmetrical? Yeah, it is symmetrical. It has, okay, so is that mainly the overall? Let me see if there's anything from the right side that I need there. Got my two different heights. I've already captured this. I don't feel like there's any additional like dimensioning for the overall just shape of this that's going to happen there. Other than, I feel like I do need to know this. Maybe from front side to here. What is this? Yeah, this one will drop it. Find out later. So if I think of like all my dimension on the bottom are just on the front view are coming off the bottom, my dimensions now on the top view are coming from right side, potentially coming from front or back overall, coming from front maybe here, coming from back. I'm kind of picking up like a right and back datum. And then if I'm gonna do another dimension, right and back. So one more dimension I was looking at, maybe this one. So I need to know that one here. Just to mention here, if I put this in, this is almost like left to right or something. So is there a better way to put that one? I don't know. I'll think about that because I'm really right now what I've got is going on is like I've got some front dimensions pulling, I've got some back dimensions pulling, I've got some right side dimensions pulling, and potentially left side. So I'm kind of getting like four different sides here. Maybe I need to refine this. These are the dimensions I might need for overall sizing. And I don't think there's any advantage of picking them up over here per se. So I'll leave those. I'll also look at features of this part. So it's got a radius edge. If I just look at the overall features here, there's a radius edge. I need to know that one. So it should, I think just with the dimension tab on, this will identify itself. It's a radius dimension as well. It applies the R for you, so there's no other work to do there. I would like this little, like, I mean, if I'm thinking about that radius, I would like this to pull through, show that concentric nature, the radius and fill it, or the hole in the radius. Yeah, I think so. Now let's look at holes. So hole size and location, hole size and location. So here's an easy hole to size and locate. So in my dimension, I'll size it here. Sure. Apply the diameter symbol for me automatically. There's hole size, what's its location? So it's going to kind of be an X and Y location here. So from the bottom up here, probably pull it here. Yeah. And then just need to know in the X direction which way. Do I pull from the left side or do I pull from clear over on the right side? I don't know. I feel like to pull, like one reason why I like this one here is because it is kind of its own feature. And it's not really, I hate to pull from here clear over to here because they're kind of two different bores. So I do feel like a better location dimension is maybe right here. I know it's pulling from the left side surface. That's okay. I feel like it was better to have this one up here too. So at least I have the whole sized and located in two directions. I have another hole. What does it appear as a circle? It's right here actually. So this will be a necessary view. I haven't done anything yet, but because this is the other hole, I don't get it here and I don't get it here. So I'm going to size it here for sure. So this one picks up that I need this. maybe I could have said two each here. That would be valid. I mean, we may have done that on, maybe I look at them as little separate features, two different bores. I'm going to size and locate them, maybe separate, but you could put 2x here and then not pull out another one. I feel like maybe this is a little clearer. And then I need to size and I need to locate that. So there's its size and its location is from, let's say here to here. And then say which way to locate the next. From front, this would be the front side. So I'll say from front to center. Size and located. You could have used locations here as well. This is the legit location from here to here. You'd be separating the size and location to different views, which is fine. I'm able to bundle them in the same view. So, and then, so those are the two bores, size and located. Then I have a hole there, this little hole. So I need to size and locate it as well. So this is the only place to size it. It's where it appears as a circle. So size it right there, pull it over here. Okay. And then its location, I'll use this same area here to locate it. So I'll say off the front, center is this dimension. And whether I pull this from right or left, I feel like I have a pretty good option. I think I'll pull it from left here. So now that size and located. And now I'll just clean it up a little bit, right? So start with, I need a little more space here. A little more space here. This is probably gonna go away. So I'll delete it right now. It'll gain me some space. Yeah, I'll clean up these dimensions here. So I'll say that, oh, this is about 3/8 away. I mean, if I measure that, I don't know what it measures. But I don't think I'm gonna spend the time doing this. In fact, I don't even think it's a measurable like thing just in my normal measure. So I'm just gonna eyeball this. There are some, you'll notice there are some grips that show up while you pull these dimensions away. Like there's like, and I do tend to use these. There's one right there. There's one right there. I don't know I'd have to go look in the application option to see what that dimension it is that it is. That one seems really a little bit too close to my object, so I'm gonna pull away to kind of. I'm actually not on a grip there when I snapped it. But there are a couple of grips that show up. I'm gonna call that my first space spacing, and then I can refine these. Quarter inch would be the next one, but I just tuck them in pretty close. This one here, bring it down over here. This one closer. So I would say I use more of like an eyeballing technique. If I'm not punching in numbers, something like this is a clean look. Clean up this one's kind of a mess. So this dimension can go in. You should be able to grab the dimension too and push it to each side. Sometimes snap it in between. Be able to move it over here. Reach across those and down and away like that. Move this in. Something like that. Watching for any interference and getting rid of it. That's good. So maybe that part is pretty well identified. It's definitely got some inaccurate, there is some tolerance that we need and stuff. These are just default two decimal place dimensions. Let's just do that at first and we can refine these later if we decide to. And so I'm going to place another part on here. Oh no, I think I decided I was going to be my piston, right? So I can open this up, take a look at my over here to base view. There it is. That's its front view, top view, right side view. I think I'm going to leave this as the front view. The pretty common with round parts like this. This might be the front view profile that we look at. I don't think I need all three views. I think a front and right side is going to be sufficient. In fact, it's not even going to be the best. I think I'm actually going to revert. I'm going to reverse this a bit. I'm going to roll this around this way so that I'm kind of looking into the part, which exposes better part deal in my front view. And then I have this one. I still think I'm going to eliminate that view. Top view's not going to do me any good, but I will add a profile view here. And I don't think I'm going to go 2-to-1. It's going to go 1-to-1. Yeah, something like this with its view label, which we can adjust later. I was thinking I had my view labels preset to populate some stuff, at least mass. We haven't identified any material type yet. I think that would show up if we did. So we can play with view labels and we'll play with the eye properties of my parts because it's affecting my parts list on my first page and it will affect potentially what's included in the view label with my eye properties of each part, really. So, okay. So let's just focus on dimensioning. I think this is good. Do a couple good views. But that's why there's just like my view label is kind of weird if you notice this. It's because there's a space missing. I think it's going to be, I think when you identify a material, it will put that in the NA spot, and then I think it'll pick its mass if you've updated the mass. I think so. That's what I think is going to populate here. I'm just happy to see that I have text size. I don't think I have the Arial font. It might be Tacoma. I don't know what font is. I'm gonna leave it. I think I have a few different fonts going on if I look here, which is a little bit annoying to me, but let's just see. All right. And then this is what I would do. So this is where you use sketching on yours. I have two different parts on the same sheet. Pretty common. They fit well. I can get good parts details. I have to worry less about annotated text here. I think when I scale my text let's just try that. Just this one that I've just done. If I rescale these, if I go up to a 1-to-1, I believe my dimensions will need some adjustment, but they'll stay the same, like readable text at 1/8 text size. So I'm not going to do that. It's a mess, but I just want to show you that you have to worry less about whether or not you applied your text dimensioning in the right window. But what we have is a sketch tab here. So you can do a sketch like you could in CAD. I can just draw a line here and you can project geometry, or maybe you can't. But this is maybe it wants to just choose like where I want to draw this sketch. So maybe I say like start sketch here. Now I'm in like I just left clicked in on my drawing in random space. I think you can select a view to draw your sketch into, like a specific view. I was actually just wanting it to be in just the no man's land of the drawing here. So now I'm just doing a line. And I think now I still can't project geometry. I was looking at good, but I'm just going to do a line here to break these two up. Nice vertical line. Drag this over. This is the one things that I kind of will leave unconstrained. I'm actually just gonna, I'm not even gonna necessarily tie these in. You can, but I don't even worry about it that accurate here. I just worry about breaking up the space like this. And so this sketch is technically when I do finally say, oh, I might not constrain this. I don't even think I can project some of this geometry. So I'll just say finish this. That sketch does live in here, like that little thing here. Like if I just, this is my sheet. And here's that's the sketch that's on all of my sheets because it's the tolerance block. Here's the sketch I just drew though. So here's how I could get in and like edit that sketch if I needed to. So just so you know, once you do something like that, it does live, in the expandable menu here of your drawing along with your views. And they all have like specific things like I didn't show this yet, but you can keep expanding. It has everything that's in there. You almost get back into its features here and its origin, and you can hide stuff in here. I don't necessarily do that, but there's a lot of manipulation you can do with your parts on your drawings here because they're totally expandable. Each view has it's what's in it. Yeah. Turn solid bodies off, then transparent, turn their visibility off. I don't want to do that either, but it's pretty. Yeah, I can manipulate my drawing quite a bit within the, or yeah, manipulate my view quite a bit within the drawing. It's hard to know if somebody's done that unless you're really exploring a drawing. But let's see. So let's dimension this thing out. This is what I got to do for every part. So I'm probably gonna have a couple of sheets. Yeah. Um, so I might just pause my video and throw my other parts on and then kind of dimension them out. And then I'll pick up on the other side of the video once I've got my parts in. And we'll just kind of talk about where I go from there. But I'm going to get all my parts dimensioned like I would in CAD and take a couple pretty good looks at it, and then I'll start my next video. So this will be part 4.